Blacks arrived in St. Louis en masse from the South in the year 1900. Nearly all had nothing to their names. The national poverty rate among blacks fell from 87% in 1940 to 47% in 1960. Entirely on their own, blacks were moving up. Howard Husak's research shows that in 1950, 21% of all housing units in this neighborhood were the property of blacks. This number exceeded that of the adjacent white neighborhood by 3%. In this neighborhood, 23% of the homes had an owner present, and 460 out of 480 owners were black. Homes here were worth an average of $8,000, compared to the city-wide average of $9.2 thousand. Blacks were on the move upward, but the powers that ran St. Louis at the time did not see these properties the same way as blacks did, as low-rent opportunities to move up. They saw only slums. These powers were guilty of what's called the snapshot fallacy, the erroneous belief that conditions observed at a given moment are permanent, unless the government intervenes.
Everything is stagnant. Housing market isn't going to change. Their socioeconomic status isn't going to change. Therefore, we have to wipe that snapshot away and replace it with a gleaming new tower.
The government destroyed their equity and created a permanent black underclass. This happened all over America. My father, like many black men of the Great Migration from the South, wanted equity. Wow. Phoenix Village Hall. Wow. My parents spent a lot of time there on one issue or another. My mother started a baby clinic in the City Hall of Phoenix. 2nd Avenue, my Lord, let's see. That's the house. My mother and father had equity in that house. They built up through hard work and risk-taking. They learned to be electricians. They learned to be plumbers. They learned to be house painters. I can remember my mother on the roof of that house with tar paper, tarring it just before winter came in. They bought another house. We worked on that one. They sold it. They built up enough equity in this poor black community to see them through to the rest of their lives. I can remember when the idea of public housing began to be talked about in the 50s. And I can remember my father was instantly suspicious, did not like the idea, took it as something of a humiliation, the idea that the government would have to step in order for him to have a decent life. He did not like that idea. A man with nothing more than a 3rd grade education, a truck driver all of his life in the Loop of Chicago. But he knew instinctively that these things were possibilities even in the midst of racial segregation everywhere. On our own block, whites were on this side, we blacks were on that side. Did he say, oh my God, that's unfair and I'm gonna wait for a government program? No, the government had nothing to do with my family's really slow, gradual move upward in American life. The government was always a barrier, always something that's disbelieved in our agency, in our power to make a life.